ASAP Sports, Throwing Hands. I'm James.
And I'm Josh.
And we are here at SAA Alliance,
Yes,
June 1st. Way to kick off the summer, right?
Hey, for real. Not only that, but with SAA Alliance kicking off the semifinals for the Grand Prix tournament, you know this is going to be action-packed.
Action-packed, stacked card. We're in the semifinals of the Grand Prix. And, I mean, when I say stacked card,
Stacked.
it can't get more stacked than this. I mean, seriously. I mean, just to run through some of the bouts tonight, we got Jesse Heiss out of Sighton Gym versus Cooper Murray out of Chandler MMA.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. This is actually going to be one of our first times seeing a fighter out of Chandler MMA. So not having too much information on Cooper Murray, it's going to be very interesting to see that. But we've seen so many fighters come out of Satan Gym, Arizona. Jesse Heiss. We had previous fighters, Eli Johnson, on the Porter Grand Prix tournament.
Yep.
So there's so much action. I'm very excited for this bout.
Yeah, it should definitely be a doozy. You know, again, it's crazy as things go on, as the scene evolves, how many more gyms we're seeing putting fighters into the circuit.
For real.
And it's quality fighters, man. We talk about this all the time. Every time we're at one of these events, we're always surprised by a newcomer.
Yep, absolutely. And it seems like every single event, there's more and more new fighters emerging too.
Yeah. Next up, we got Junior Escobar out of X Muay Thai versus Sebastian Garcia.
Yes, sir. This is going to be very interesting. It's almost like it's going to be a battle of X Muay Thai versus Satan, because there's so many Satan fighters, so many X Muay Thai fighters, and you know this one's going to be a banger.
You know, I love to see these really good gyms that have really good coaches. I love to see their gyms showcased, especially like this, in a sense where you're seeing 3, 4, 5 guys from that gym fight all on one card.
Yep.
And you're getting to the display of what is really going on inside that gym.
You know what actually makes me think of? Remember the movie Fearless with Jet Li?
Yeah.
The schools were battling, you know, it's bringing it back because that culture, bringing it to modern times where it's the battle of the gyms, the battle of the schools to see who's truly the most elite.
Yeah, it really ups that competition. You know, you don't want to be that gym next door to the gym that's, you know, got one up on you, right?
Yep.
You know, next we have Donovan Meja out of One Kick and Anthony Solis.
This one's going to be very exciting. Now, this is going to be the first time seeing Donovan out of One Kick for us, but Anthony Solis, we saw him back at Rough Super Muay Thai Series. So you remember that fight?
I do. See, that event, again, going back to that one, that was something that was really different. You know, when they chose to go over to Rough and the type of show that they put on and what this circuit brings to the Valley. It's amazing, man.
It was like true traditional Muay Thai.
I was just telling my boy earlier, you know, the only thing up from this is going back to Thailand.
Yep. And it looks like that's going to be happening soon, so stay tuned, guys. A couple of weeks, we got Jose Aquino, also from X Muay Thai, going to be competing out in Bangkok, Thailand.
So next up, we got Joel Salas versus Devin Santos. Joel's out of X Muay Thai. Devin's out of Golden Era.
That's right. And I believe this is actually Devin Santos' debut. So what's going to be really cool is that he's going to be making his debut with his fellow teammate from Golden Era.
So Gordon is actually fighting Johnny Robledo. Again, this is another one of those situations where we kind of get to see a little bit of a showcase of that specific gym.
Yep. Two Golden Era fighters versus 2 X Muay Thai fighters. Because, you know, especially Joel Salas, he comes with aggression. He comes with that same intensity as Anthony does. You know, X Muay Thai is going to be very phenomenal. And Golden Era as well. They have very tough fighters. We got to see them put their skills on display at the last event. So I'm very excited for this one, too.
Yeah, and, you know, that ends our pre-card. And it brings us into our main card. And again, we talked about this earlier. This is a stacked card.
Very stacked. So
again, here we have Juan Delgado and Grant Perkins opening up for the main card. Ex Muay Thai. Juan Delgado's fighting out of Ex Muay Thai. And then Grant Perkins is coming out of Vegas out of Paradox.
That's right. And we've seen a lot of fighters come out of Paradox. Isaac McCary, True Sim, Jamshid Eskandarian, and on that type of trailer as well. So for this fight, I'm excited because we saw Juan Delgado out of Ex Muay Thai. He also fought at the Rough Super Series.
Right.
He got that win. And when I talked to him yesterday, he said going into this match, he really wanted to focus on improving his hands. So going against Grant Perkins, who comes with experience with Johnny Parsons, with Isaac McCary, other champions, that'll be an exciting matchup.
Yeah, you know, anytime you see Paradox MMA on the card, you know, you got to expect a fight. At the very least, that particular fight's going to be high paced, and if the ability is there and they're able to keep that distance, there's going to be a lot of striking. A lot of striking. So look for this one to have a lot of exchanges early on, and you know. Once there's a lot of striking, those later rounds, you get those clinches. So it might be one in the clinch later on in the fight.
Yeah, I'd be very interested to see if Juan will definitely mix up levels from working a lot of the body, even in the clinch, to use it to set up his hands.
Yeah, so the next fight, we got Todd Barraza out of Thong Sai, and then Adam Lineberry, or Lena Berry out of Paradox MMA again.
Yeah, and I actually just talked to Adam Lindenberry a moment ago over when he was getting tested with the doctors. He came from Paradox as well, got working with Johnny Parsons, a lot of elite fighters out there. And then going against especially Todd Barraza, he's actually coming all the way from Eugene, Oregon. So he's going to have a lot of his hometown people tuning in, his own family, and talking to him. You know, I'm thinking this is also going to be a potential fight of the night because both of their energies was there. They're just ready to go.
Yeah, and I'll say this, as much as we talk about, you know, having multiple guys from the same gym on the same card, it's also on the flip side when you're the only guy from that gym on the card, and you're coming from a few states down the road. You know, so you've flown only with your coach and maybe another team member or two. You know, you're going through all that stuff kind of alone in the sense where all these other guys are kind of have that sense of comfort with their guys traveling with them and being able to kind of work through those jitters together and talk themselves through it and, you know, have teammates right there by the side that are about to go into battle as well.
Yeah, that's what I think is really great about this card because I think it's the epitome of that right now because there's so many fighters from a lot of the same gyms. So we got a lot of Satan, Ex Muay Thai, we got a couple of Golden Era, we got Variety, even MMKG Fresno from Fresno, California. So the team, the camaraderie, the dedication that they have in regards to developing each other is phenomenal.
Yeah, it's going to up the ante as the card goes on.
Yeah, they have a
those
tally
tallies
going.
start going on, and you're like, oh, no, we're down 2? Or, you know what I mean?
So we got to step it up.
We got to step that up. So that's definitely going to play a part, you know, and especially when we get into these later fights. And this brings us to what I have looked at on this card as possibly fight of the night. You know, in our poll on Instagram, a lot of people are trying to push this towards knockout of the night possibly. So this one is Jorge Figueroa versus Stuart Smith. Of course, Jorge fighting out of Ex Muay Thai. You know, there's a little bit of backstory if you watched any of the pre-fight interviews. Jorge and Stuart actually fought out in Thailand.
That's right. That's right. Currently, that's start that. Currently, that's actually Jorge's only loss because currently he's 9-1 when he fought out in Thailand and he lost to Stuart Smith. And when I was talking to him yesterday, he really talked about how this is a beautiful story. Now he gets the opportunity to run it back. And not only that, but it's part of the semifinals because they both won in the quarter and now they move on to the semi.
Right. And, you know, being able to come back home, settle in, you know, your first loss, and you get to see that guy again this quickly, this early on. You know, the wound is still kind of fresh. Yeah. So, you know, I expect this to be a war. The polls on Instagram expect this to be a war. And, you know, prior to digging into all those other things like the story and things like that, just looking at the things they've done in past fights also points to this being a war.
Absolutely. I mean, just looking at their track records, especially just 2 months ago at the quarterfinals, the way that they kept the pace, the momentum, even when they had shots land on them, they were ready to land 2 in return. So the aggression was high. And honestly, what's really cool is the dynamic, because when they were out in Thailand, they were both in foreign territory. But now that we're in Jorge's territory, Stuart Smith coming over from California, he's going to be stepping in enemy territory, and it'll be interesting to see if that'll play a dynamic, if the crowd, the energy there will affect Stuart.
Yeah, because we've been in situations and we know what Jorge can do to a crowd. So, you know, that can definitely play a part in this. And we'll know very early on in that fight. You know, obviously being a counter striker, Jorge, you know, usually fills things out. But I don't expect this to have much of a fill-out process.
I don't think so either.
I think he's going to move into past the counter-strike phase and into his attack mode really quick and early on. So,
yeah,
man, again, knockout of the night candidate, fight of the night candidate. This is going to be a good one.
Absolutely.
Richard Vasquez fighting out of Church Street, and Ruben Everett fighting out of Setan Gym.
We got another one. And Ruben, too, he had a phenomenal performance at the last one where he secured the win. Similar situation where it ended up being a rematch, and he got the win and move on. And then we saw Rich Vasquez as well. He moved on from the quarterfinals after securing a victory win over Isaac McCary. Now they get to step in the ring together.
Right. This should be a good one, man. Again, Setan, they've been around. And we're starting to see them just
really blossom.
I was going to use the word infiltrate, but I would go blossom, and I mean infiltrate in a good way, but blossom's a better way to say it. They're popping up in all the circuits and, you know, making their gym well known. And that's what we love to see on this circuit out here in Arizona. We love to see the community grow. We need more promotions. We need more things like this to provide these fighters with places to strive.
Yeah.
You know?
And I think that's a great thing about like what we talk about a lot with Arizona, and we're seeing more evidence of fighters out of state coming in to set that, is the fact that this is the new epicenter for combat sports, whether it's Muay Thai, kickboxing, MMA, boxing. This is the next hottest scene, and we see that time and time again. The fact that every single new event we cover, half the card is brand new people in the scene every time. Over 1,000 interviews, so many. Like, this is insane, honestly.
Right. I mean, you go back 2 years ago when we first started this, and we were seeing a lot of the same people, card after card, you know what I mean? Just kind of mixed up between each other. And now, you know, a year and a half later, it's evolved so much. I mean,
really has.
Like I said, I mean, you emphasize the amount of different fighters we see on a regular basis, the amount of gyms, the introduction of gyms that I see on every single card, every single new promotion out here is insane. That I'm seeing new gyms every fight. Yeah. And, you know, it shows how much this community has grown, how fast it's continuing to grow as well. And we talked about it all the time. If you guys haven't, you guys need to. Every Tuesday night, 8 p.m., Throwing Hands. You can see us on YouTube. You can catch us on Instagram. You can see us on Facebook. But we talk about this a lot on our show amongst the other fighters that we have on about, you know, just the way it's growing, at the speed that it's growing in.
Yeah, I mean, I even pulled up the list of all the different gyms we just have right now. I mean, look, shout out X Muay Thai, Setan, Chandler MMA, One Kick, Golden Era, Paradox, Tong Sai, MMKG, Church Street, Hard Knocks, Siege, Syndicate, Two Knuckles, MMA Lab, Red Hawk, AZ Dragons, Dragon Snake, AZ Combat Sports, Baker's MMA, Legion MMA, and that's still half of them. So that's just crazy. There's so many here in the scene.
Yeah, and then, you know, to all the different promotions out there, from SAA Alliance to Rise of the Prospects, PFA, Rough Nation, Samurai Souls. I'm probably missing somebody, but there's just OG Boxing. Yeah. Del Sol Boxing, Iron Boy. We got Thunderbolt coming up now. We got 10-0 promotions. So, you know, there's so much going on out here, and it continues to grow. Things continue to sprout, whether it's gyms, promotions, fighters. it's going on and on. So it's really a good time to be into this community.
Yeah, and especially too moving on to the co-main event with Ty Petralia versus Kyrie Billings. This one I'm also very excited because you remember we had Ty back at PFA 1 going against Judas Madrid, and
very
let me tell you
fight.
something, Mark Hunt. That's the first thing I thought of with that chin. He took so much damage, but was still able to push forward, put aggression, and also mitigate damage too.
Yeah. No, and you never want to take damage as a fighter, but he did it in a way that he could take it on and still dish it.
Yeah.
You know, in the process. And Ty, they fought a really, really good fight. I was hoping they would have ran it back.
You know, funny enough, he is pushing for that.
I heard. So we'll see. We'll see how that works out here in the future. I would love to see it as a fan.
I agree.
That was a really, 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 really good fight.
Yeah, I agree.
And then, you know, that brings us to our main event.
That's right.
We've talked a lot about Citan Gym. We've talked a lot about Paradox MMA. And how well would it be to schedule a championship match as the main event between Paradox and Citan Gym?
See, I think this really pays homage to not only the skill set of these two gyms, but just the dedication and their passion for the sport and how their fighters really set the example for their gyms.
Yeah, man. I mean, both of these guys are tremendous fighters. You know, Isaac McCary, we've seen him so many times.
So many times.
He's been so active in the state of Arizona, and he's out of Las Vegas, which is insane. We see him down here every single weekend, it seems like. Whether or not he's supporting a fighter, cornering them, coaching them, cheering them along, being supportive as a teammate, or he's out here being a killer in that ring that's right behind us.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, he trains with Johnny Parsons, who's a UFC fighter, a phenomenal athlete who's currently in Thailand training Muay Thai. So it's just the dynamic of this overall is absolutely phenomenal with these two talents. Isaac McCary, he's won championships before. He's fought at the USMTO. Omar Martin, he's actually currently undefeated, 7-0.
Yeah, and you know, for Omar, you know, young in your career, you're 7-0. And, you know, you get to go against a guy that is so respected in this circuit. Like we talked about how active Isaac stays. Very active. He's a champion at PFA currently. You know, he fights in SAA. He was just on the U.S. team over in Mexico.
That's right.
He just fought in Thailand not too long ago. You know, so Isaac stays so busy. So for a guy that's kind of young in your career to be able to have this fight scheduled against a guy that not only is really high level of skill, but also stays as active as he does, that's gonna put a different notch on your confidence level when you get out of this ring.
Absolutely, because I mean, what do we always talk about? Activity is key. If you're not consistent in training, it's not going to work out. If you're not consistent in competing, it's not going to work out.
Right.
And that's why it's so important to stay active, to stay consistent with that.
Right. You know, so let me take my my interview cap off for a second. What fight are you looking forward to the most tonight?
I mean, to be perfectly honest, not only am I excited for Andrew Saucedo versus Luke Anthony Angus, I'm also really excited for Jorge Figueroa versus Stuart Smith. That one, I think, in regards to storytelling, in regards to legacy, I think is the most fruitful one.
Yeah. If you're a sports fan and you're a die-hard sports fan like I am, you love history.
Yep.
You love storytelling. You want to be able to sit there and tell your grandkids, like, I remember back when, you know what I mean? And this is one of those. This is one of those, like, those possible trilogy setups that
potentially, yeah.
It's such a good story from the beginning.
Yep.
Like the setting, you're in Thailand. Like you said, you're in both of you guys are in foreign territory. You guys go into this fight, both from the lands, right next door to each other. You guys are neighbors.
Yep.
And then you guys get into it. This is your first loss. You know, looking into Jorge's perspective.
Yeah.
You come back home
And now you get to fight
gifted him. And for Stewart, you go to Thailand, you take that W, beat an undefeated fighter, you come back home, you get a call. You're going next door to solidify it. The story's here. That's a really good one. But I'm a man of gold. I'm a man of gold. I know that's the easy way out, but I'm really looking forward to see what happens for Isaac versus Omar.
Very true.
Like I said, I mean, we painted the story on this as well. Paradox MMA is decorated all on this card.
Yep.
C-Tan Gym is decorated all on this card. I would love, or not would love, I am going to love to see the ending, you know, as they've done battling towards the end of the night, and see who gets to walk out of there with that gold.
Absolutely. And what I will really love about it is that, you know, there's a lot of people that talked about Isaac's last loss against Rich Vasquez, who moved on to the semifinals, about the controversy. A lot of people said he won. So I think this will fill in with that story, too. If he could get the W and get the belt in the main event against Omar, that only solidifies that he is a champion for a reason, and may even continue him to get a rematch with Rich Vasquez, which I would love to see. Yes,
sir. Well, we are a few minutes away from SAA Alliance semifinals Grand Prix, June 1st. ASAP, Throwing Hands, we're in the building. There's a lot of great gyms here, a lot of great fighters. And like I said, man, stay tuned. You know what we do. We're going to bring you post-fight interviews. You're going to see us at every event here in Arizona. And we're going to bring you that great content. So stay tuned for the post-fight interviews and watch out for the highlight reel coming for you.
Yes, sir. Peace, sucker.